Good afternoon. This is Monica again coming from my potting patio. In today's episode, I'm sure you can see we have an extremely ailed Alocasia Zebrina, which absolutely breaks my heart because this was the most gorgeous two-plant pot that I received in the mail just about maybe 2 months ago, and it was perfectly healthy, no pests, no issues, and we fast forward 2 months later and I've lost one of the plants. This is the remaining one, and I am very concerned that this one's a goner as well. But we're going to find out exactly what is going on and see if there's anything that can be done. My guess is that it probably is suffering from root rot, even though I did learn my lesson from the last group of alocasias that I did have. And I've been underwatering this guy, at least for what's comfortable for me. As I mentioned in my previous episode, I'm a tenacious overwaterer, so I've been very, very mindful to make sure this guy really only gets watered when he does need it. I apologize for the thunder in the background. We are in Central Florida, and this is the rainy season, and I think we actually have a tropical storm coming our way here in the next few days, so hopefully the sound quality isn't too bad, but let's get started. Since that leaf on the right is definitely a goner, I'm going to go ahead and just cut it off just to make repotting this and taking a look a little bit easier to manage, as the pot is quite heavy. So let's see what we have here. All right, here we go. Let's see, there's quite a bit of soil in here, so let's see if we can get him out without too much damage. Whoops. See here. So the soil at the bottom of this pot actually was fairly compacted, so maybe that's lending itself to some issues. Let's see what we have here. Definitely root rot, but there are a couple of healthy roots here still, so maybe we can see if we can do some salvaging. But this is, yep, that just fell off. That one seems okay, but it's starting to rot at the top here, so I don't know if you can see that. We're gonna just go ahead and cut him off. Yep, there he goes. Let's see, the bulb itself is still pretty firm, so we might have some hope here. Let's just get rid of some of these softer roots that are clearly not gonna make it. Oh, yep, that kind of fell off. These are falling off. I think we're just gonna be stuck with just these two good roots. All right, let's see here. Let's get rid of some of this old foliage here and see if we can find any insects or anything there. Sometimes this tends to hold some extra moisture around the base, which causes rot, so let's get rid of that. Yep, we're pretty rotted through the base. I'm gonna guess that somehow there was water congregating at the top level of the soil, which caused it to rot. So I'm gonna go ahead. The bulb itself actually seems to be pretty firm and nice and white in good condition. So because it has these two healthy roots that are pretty mature, and this one's actually developing some feeder roots off the end as well, I'm gonna go ahead and cut this guy way, way down until it's firm. We're gonna see what the inside looks like, see how far the rot goes. I'm probably gonna pot him up in some sphagnum moss and say a little hope and a prayer and hope that we can regenerate this guy, because he was not inexpensive, and quite honestly he was one of my favorites. So I'm out of 2, I'm down to 1, so let's see what we can do here. So I've actually decided to repot this guy into a terracotta pot. The reason being is that when I pulled him out and had a good look at him, he actually does still have some pretty strong roots. The lower stem of this remaining leaf is actually not soft, and I did pull away all of the old stem rotting foliage, so hopefully it does not spread to this main stem. But I'm going to give it one kind of a ditch effort to pot it back up into a very perlite heavy soil to make sure that it's primarily sterile and pretty free draining, and I'm going to keep my eyes on this guy like a hawk and see what he does. I do expect to lose this leaf. As you guys can see, it's well on its way to probably wilting and falling off, but I'm going to give it every last chance to grab as much energy as it can before it does have to be cut off, and before the rest of the hopeful new stems do start emerging from this bulb, of which I'll give you an update. So here we go. Water just to get it going here and make sure that it is nice and stable in that soil. And other than that, let's cross our fingers and hope that we can see some new growth in a few weeks. All right, and I'm going to put him with my other alocasias in an east-facing portion of the potting patio, and keep an eye on this leaf and see if it's wilting in a day, or maybe it'll take a couple of days, and see if there's any new action going on at the base where the new stem hopefully will emerge. I did not bury this guy too deep because I don't want him to get root or have that water congregating at the base of the stem, which I think was the issue with the stem before this one, but we'll see. So I did find 3 little corms when I was looking at the roots more carefully. So I've had some pretty good luck potting these up and letting them sprout, so to speak. So we'll see if we can't regenerate a few extra Zebrina plants from these guys. All right, so we've got these 3 corms situated in a net pot with moist sphagnum moss. I did make sure to wring it out so it's not overly wet. To add a little extra humidity, I am going to add a cover to this. I personally like to reuse products, so when I was going through my office and found a whole bunch of stacks of CD cases and CDs, I decided to toss the CDs, toss the spindle, and keep the cover. So they make great humidity covers, especially if you can get one of the glass jars with a small lip on it like I have. These are actually for candles from the Dollar Tree, and I stock up on them for several things. First, the humidity, kind of like a makeshift cloche, but secondly, they make great coasters and saucers for some of my pots that I can't really match because they have different patterns. They didn't come with saucers, so these make very discreet, elegant, very inexpensive saucers. All right, let's get this on here and make sure that the bottom is sealed nice and tight with the saucer, and we should be good to go. I'll keep you posted on how these do over the next coming weeks, and fingers and toes crossed, I have 3 emerging Alocasia Zebrinas.